Hi, I'm Marie, and welcome to my gluten-free blog. I'm a recent graduate of in biology and psychology from the University of New Mexico, and I am currently, that's my cat, if you can hear him, his name's Bagheera. Um, Here he is, say hello. Say hi, Bagheera! This is also a recent adoption. I used to be really allergic to cats and pretty much everything in sight, but we'll get to that. I'm currently pursuing a degree in dance. I've been dancing flamenco for about 6 years. Um, Mostly casually. I just kind of went to class and while I was working on my degree programs to get some fitness exercise and have fun and kind of have a creative outlet to express myself. So, I created this blog to hopefully help people that are thinking about going gluten-free and who might have questions or want to hear an actual personal experience documentation. So I actually kept a journal while I was going gluten-free, and so this is kind of going to be a back date um, of that. And I'm going to keep the videos pretty short, like 1 to 2 minutes, just to kind of get tidbits. So I'll have tips and tricks, what I personally experienced while going gluten-free, and then I'll continue from that after that point with possible recipes and other things that I've discovered online and through personal exploration. Um, and so great. So that's the intro. Just to give you a little background on me, I had severe allergies. I've never been able to digest dairy since I was small. It gave me a lot of stomach problems. I had a lot of issues with mood swings and hormonal issues with my menstrual cycle. So this might get a little in depth, just so you know. But I won't. I'll spare you the details. Um, and I was constantly getting ill. I would catch pretty much everything that went by. I would catch colds. I would never recover from the cold. It would take several months. I would then develop bronchitis, pneumonia, and eventually I started developing asthma as an adult, which is pretty rare. I also had a lot of food allergies. I couldn't eat carrots, bananas, nuts, cinnamon, paprika, celery, what else? Melons, bananas. I don't know if I said bananas already, but if I didn't, bananas. And I think that's pretty much covers it, which it's kind of difficult because a lot of, especially processed foods and foods that you buy at the store, have mixtures of these things in them. And it made it kind of hard because some of the things are pretty healthy, and so when I wanted to kind of go on a healthier diet, I couldn't eat bananas, for example, and nuts, and I also couldn't be around any aromatic candles that had cinnamon in them. I've always been allergic to smoke, any kind, incense, cigarette, what have you. I've never been able to be around it. Cats I was allergic to, but you just met one of my farm cats, and I am no longer allergic to him. And I'm also probably like molds and dust and pretty severe dust mite allergies. So I just had a lot of immune problems going on. I would get skin reactions, I would get hives, I would get like the cough that I was talking about. I had to go on an inhaler and a nebulizer treatment at one point. And I also had, since I had issues with my stomach, I was constantly taking, at first, Mylanta, things like that, constantly. drinking ginger tea to try to settle my stomach, and those things did help. I found some really effective herbal treatments because I really got tired of spending the money on the over-the-counter medicines. And also during my degree, when I was doing research in the biomedical sciences, I kind of learned a lot about chemicals and what they do to your body, and I wasn't too keen on taking 17 different pills and doing all these things because I wasn't getting better. I mean, that was the bottom line, is that they may have helped, but I wasn't getting better. And fortunately for me, I came into contact with several people. One was my boss, and she knew that she was wheat intolerant. And at first, I thought, oh, well, that's weird. I've never heard of that before. Wheat intolerance. And gosh, I was such a pasta person. And I still am, but there's good thing there's gluten-free alternatives. But after talking with her and hearing about celiacs and things like that, I never thought that that was me. Mostly because I never necessarily felt ill right after eating the wheat or eating like that. But when I started to talk to them more, we started to have a lot of things in common. And one of the major things was, respiratory illnesses and having to go on antibiotics a lot, having a lot of strep infections and stomach issues and things like that. And that's kind of where it started, and that kind of piqued my curiosity. And then we started to have other things in common: severe allergies, severe food allergies, just strange things that I was like, oh, that happens to you too? I've never met anybody that happens to. And then the more I talked to people, the more it became apparent that I might be wheat intolerant. I talked to my auntie, who's an RN. She's had some experience with people with wheat intolerance, and I could have been tested. I did not. I'm not tested. I haven't been tested. She said the easiest way to figure it out is if you just go gluten-free for 2 weeks and see if you see any improvement in your symptoms. Now, by this point, I was definitely curious about it, but I wasn't really sure that was me or not, and I was really hoping it wasn't, because I love bread, I love pasta, and the more things I found out had wheat in them, pretty much everything, licorice, strange things that I would never think had wheat, all have wheat. And so I would have to eliminate those. And it's also a lot harder. I mean, I was a busy student and a busy mom. Yes, I'm a mom. I probably look too young to be a mom, but I'm actually probably a lot older than you think I am. However, I was busy. I've started an organic farm, and so I was really busy with a lot of those things. And I was really like, I didn't want to eat at McDonald's anymore, but it was kind of nice to just drop by Wendy's or Lottaburger or whatever. We don't have the best of eating habits here in New Mexico, and in my culture, we eat a lot of junk, and it's not good for us. But I'm hoping to try to change some of those things and try to make our health recipes healthier. So stay tuned for a cooking ebook or something like that. Anyways, so I decided that I would try it eventually, and I really didn't want to. When I started doing more research on the subject, I came across some really interesting things. I came across this list, and it says gluten has been linked to anemia, which I tested positive for. My doctors did a blood test. They wanted me to go on iron pills. The iron pills caused constipation, so then I had to go on a stool softener supplement as well. Now, frankly, just at this step alone, I was like, why don't you just tell me to eat more leafy greens and high fiber foods and drink a ton of fluids and eat some vegetable oil, vegetable or olive specifically, or sunflower, grapeseed, something like that. instead of taking these stupid pills. So that was a red flag for me. I didn't want to go on iron pills, and because I'm taking the iron now to help myself, now to take the stool softener too, and all of my other allergy pills. Anyways, so gluten has been linked to anemia, severe allergies, food and or seasonal. I had both really bad. Painful and severe PMS and menstrual problems. That was definitely me. Irritable bowel-like syndrome, stomach always feeling bloated or gassy. Check, unfortunately. Negative interactions with milk, lactose intolerant-like symptoms, and I've had that since I was little. I just hated milk. I've hated milk my whole life, and it was probably because it made me sick. Low libido. Well, yeah, I had been experiencing that, especially later in my adult life, which is kind of a bummer because that's, one of the spices of life. Let's face it. I mean, it's a good thing. Anxiety, definitely had a lot of anxiety and just anxious feelings. It was pretty terrible. Fortunately, working out and dancing really helped. Doing meditation, starting to do yoga, things like that, that really helped too. Depression, I was experiencing depression, mostly seasonal associated, and I think part of that was because I was so sick, especially in the fall, and especially during the winter. I was just always sick. And you get to a point where you are willing to try whatever it takes. But I had tried all the pills, and I had tried the shots, and I was about to start doing the actual cortisone shots for allergies and things like that, and I just couldn't bring myself to do that. I said, I should try anything else possible because, that's steroids running around in your body, and that's very disruptive to what's already being disrupted by something, but of course, Western medicine is more focused on the causes, the symptomology of illnesses and treating those than what the underlying cause could be many times. That's been my personal experience. They just say, okay, you've got anemia, you need to take this iron pill. But they don't really explore it many times beyond that unless you're really pushy. So the good thing for us is that we have the internet now, we have people to talk to, so we can be more informed and kind of advocate for ourselves. So going further down the list, mood swings, definitely that. I would be happy, then I'd be sad, then I'd be irritable, and it sucks because, to be honest, that's not really the person that I am. I'm pretty much a bubbly, happy person, and I like being positive, and I like motivating people, but sometimes I just feel like crap, like complete crap from one second to the next. I couldn't explain it. I thought maybe it could be thyroid problems and things like that. So far, I haven't discovered it to be any thyroid issues. Skin rashes, painful psoriasis-like rashes. I didn't experience the psoriasis. I have experienced a lot of skin rashes and hives. And chronic dandruff. Now, that was something that I thought was product-based. That a product I was using on my hair, or that my scalp was just dry, and it's kind of been like that my whole life. And so I used a weekly regimen of Head and Shoulders, and this is kind of embarrassing and crappy, but hey, whatever. If it helps somebody, I'm all for it. So I will bear all, whatever, but I won't be too detailed because I don't want to gross people out. Anyway, so I was using this thing weekly, and if you read it, I mean, it's got zinc oxide and all this other stuff in it. That stuff can't be good for you. I mean, if you remember that our skin is an organ. It's a living organ like other organs in our body, and it's fluid, and it takes in and it puts out, and it's very active in its being on our body. So I mean, anything you put on your body is potentially going to go systemic. So and you think about things being systemic, you think about them going all over your body into all cells that are in the body. So it's really important to consider you know, what you're putting on your body. That was mind-blowing for me. That was a mind-blowing thing because I often used to put things, you know, I wouldn't have any reservations about it, really. I mean, if it sounded really bad, I wouldn't do it. But if it was made for skin, I was like, oh, it goes on the skin, you know, I'm just going to put it on here. So I really didn't think about things that much. But when I started to read, and like I said, during my undergrad, I learned a lot more about chemicals and chemistry and working in the lab. I learned a lot. So I was more aware and I could make more informed decisions about what was actually going into my body, what I was putting on my body, and the possible results of what happens because of all that toxicity or things that really shouldn't be there, disrupting the biological flow of my body. And that became kind of alarming. That was an eye-opener, and I'm really glad that from that point forward I started to think a lot more, and I started my process of detoxing. But my first step was to try to go gluten-free. And I did go gluten-free. I've been gluten-free since mid-April of 2013, and it's now November 2013. I have not, except for one by accident, I've not consumed any wheat products, to my knowledge, because that gets kind of sticky. Oh, here's my other cat. This is Rose, and she's a tortoise, so she has like different colors. Alright, anyways, so, but yeah, so I haven't consumed any wheat products to my knowledge. I had an accident at a party. I just grabbed, when I first went, like a week after I went gluten-free, I grabbed a piece of bread and I started eating it. And actually, my fiance was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh crap, you know. So, but from that point I haven't at all. And it was hard at first, and it was kind of like, oh man, I'm so hungry. Like I was so hungry for like 3 weeks. But I kept exploring and kept finding new ways to restructure my diet. And so we will commence. I will go back in my blog, and I will also make some new videos about what suggestions, recipes, and resources that you guys can look up. I'm going to cite a lot of scientific papers. I'm going to cite a lot of forums and communities that you can use to get more information about this process. And thank you for visiting my blog. And if you have any questions, you can email me personally at Marie, M-A-R-I-E, Reyes, R-E-Y-E-S, .info@gmail.com. And please don't spam me. That's a complete bummer. And I'll probably just create a filter anyways. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I can also be found on Facebook, Marie Antoinette Ortega Reyes. That's my full Hispanic name. We usually use our surname from our father's family and our surname from our mother's family. And I'm not married yet, so I'm not adding that yet. But I'm also, a copy of my blog, like the journal entries themselves, are available on LiveJournal at sleepypinkkitty.com. Or I'm sorry, sleepypinkkitty.livejournal.com. And yeah, so you can check that out and kind of read the blog in writing if you like. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.